All right, we got a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. This Super Bowl was unbelievable, right? If you missed it, you missed one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time, a 25-point comeback. Obviously, the Atlanta Falcons had their chances, had their chance to bring a championship back to the city of Atlanta. It didn't happen, and the main reason why it didn't happen was Brady's greatness. Now, obviously, the question of the day is, because of Brady's win, which gives him 5 rings, does that make him the greatest of all time? Is he now the GOAT? In my opinion, he is. But let me preface my comments by saying, look, I've always been a Joe Montana fan. I believe Joe Montana has been the greatest of all time, the best quarterback ever. That's been my belief. You know, Brady and Elway at 2 and 3, Manning's in there as well. But yesterday's performance by Brady, how he had to overcome and defy all the odds, how he's down by 25 points, how he didn't have a lot of momentum into the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, and his leadership and just level of greatness elevated the play of the people around him to pull out this victory. But first, let me tell you, when I talk about greatest of all time, there is a criteria that I look at. There are certain things that, you know, I'm looking at to consider someone as the greatest of all time. Obviously, multiple championships, MVPs, your accolades throughout your entire career, what you've accomplished obviously is huge. Leadership, you know, is a big part of it. Your overall game, how great are you individually to make others around you better? Your overall impact on your sport worldwide matters to me. And one of the biggest questions is, if we were to take you away from the sport, would this sport be just as good or just as popular or just as, intriguing without you? So when I ask those questions, let's break down Brady and let's break down why I feel like he is the GOAT. So let's get into championships. He has 5 rings now. He just passed Joe Montana. They was tied at 4. Brady now has 5. Montana has 4. Let's talk about MVPs. Brady now has 4 Super Bowl MVPs. Montana only had 3. He just passed Montana that way. The accolades. I mean, do we have to get into all of the records Tom Brady has and everything he's accomplished in his career? You know, we don't have to get into all that. Total overall game. Some would say there are some more talented, like Aaron Rodgers and Dan Marino and so on and so forth, and Manning, his brain. But can you name one Hall of Fame skill player on the offensive side of the ball that Tom Brady has played with in his 17 years? I'll give you a second. I don't think so, because he never has played with a Hall of Famer on his side of the ball. Some would say Moss, yeah, he had him for 1 year, and you see what happened. Broke all types of records, 50 touchdown passes, so on and so forth. But for 16 years, this man has basically played with a lot of no-name receivers, no-name skill players, and has developed them and has set level of expectations that they didn't even think they can achieve. As far as catching, running routes, running the ball, making spectacular plays. He was the catalyst that elevated their game. Montana had Rice. Rice is a Hall of Famer, considered greatest receiver of all time. Steve Young had Rice. Peyton Manning had Marvin Harrison, who's a Hall of Famer. John Elway had Terrell Davis, who just went to the Hall of Fame. These guys played with other Hall of Famers on their side of the ball, but Brady hasn't. I consider that, as far as my criteria, as far as looking at, is he the GOAT? So let's look at his overall impact on the game worldwide. Can't go anywhere. Brady's a household name. Anywhere you go, they know about Brady, right? So his overall impact, jersey sales, leadership, on and off the field, so on and so forth. And then the main question, if you take Brady away from the NFL, will the NFL be as popular, as ascending? Would the game have changed? And in my opinion, you can't have the NFL the last 15, 16 years without Brady. His consistency of winning is a part of the American way. His consistency of being great and working hard and delivering is a part of the American way. 16 years of doing this. And then America loves the underdog. He was drafted in the 6th round. It wasn't a high pick. He's self-made. This is why he is the GOAT, greatest of all time. And obviously his leadership. So let's talk about it. Everyone's going to say, oh, you know, he did this against Atlanta because Atlanta didn't have a good defense. Well, let's talk about 2 Super Bowls ago against the Seattle Seahawks. Well, for all of y'all who forgot, Brady was down by 10 points against the Seattle Seahawks with 12 minutes left in the game. So down by 10, 12 minutes left against arguably one of the top 5 greatest defenses of all time. That Seattle Seahawks defense was unbelievable. Everyone was healthy. No one was hurt, so on and so forth. And what did Brady do in the 4th quarter against that defense? I mean, he only went 13 of 15 for like 130 yards, 2 TDs. But everyone's going to say, but Mikal, the call is why they lost. If Pete Carroll called a pass, they would have won. Well, ladies and gentlemen, without Brady's 13 for 15 and him dominating in the 4th quarter, they would have never had the lead. They had the lead because he dominated in the 4th quarter against that Seattle defense. Keep in mind, the defense in 10 years that had a lead in the 4th quarter never lost. From 2004 to 2015, that game, when Seattle Seahawks defense had a 10-point lead, they never lost in 40-some tries. It's crazy. In 10 years, and Brady did it. So give the man credit. And then, obviously, this Super Bowl, he's down by 25. Easily, he could be on the sidelines with his head down, thinking about his legacy, thinking about the pressure, thinking about what has he done incorrectly not to have his team in a position to win. He didn't do that. What did he do? He kept his head high. He kept motivating his defense. He kept motivating his receivers. Guys, I know you dropped tons of passes in the first half. I'm coming back your way. Just make a couple plays. Just get me close. We're going to get this done. And what happened? The team rallied. The team followed his leadership. And the team pulled out one of the best comebacks in NFL Super Bowl history. This man is the greatest of all time.